February 9, 2004. A snowy evening on a sharp turn in the backwoods of New Hampshire. A lone driver, Butch Atwood, spots a black Saturn sedan crashed into a snowbank. He pulls over and asks the young woman at the wheel if she needs help. She declines, saying she's already called AAA, even though there's no cell service in the area. Butch drives home, just 100 yards away, and calls the police anyway. By the time they arrive, just minutes later, the car is locked and the driver is gone. She has vanished without a trace. This is the beginning of one of the most baffling and intensely debated missing person cases in modern history, the disappearance of Maura Murray. For 2 decades, this story has captivated and haunted people around the world, spawning a universe of theories, endless online debates, and a dedicated community of amateur sleuths. But what really happened to the 21-year-old nursing student who seemingly drove off into the night and disappeared from the face of the earth? Today, we're going deep. We're going to sift through the known facts, separate them from the rampant online speculation, and explore the most compelling questions that still remain unanswered. Why did Maura, a bright student at UMass Amherst, suddenly pack a bag, lie to her professors about a death in the family, withdraw cash, buy alcohol, and start driving north with no clear destination? This wasn't just a random trip. It was a planned escape, but an escape from what? Or to whom? Let's start with Maura herself. She was a West Point cadet before transferring to nursing school. She was an athlete, a daughter, a sister. But in the days leading up to her disappearance, her life seemed to be unraveling. Just 2 nights before she vanished, she crashed her father's brand new car. The night before that, she had an emotional breakdown at her campus security job. Friends described her as being in a zone. Was she running from a personal crisis? A secret she couldn't bear to face? Now, let's go back to that crash scene on Route 112. When police arrived, they found Maura's car locked. Inside, they saw her belongings, including textbooks and birth control pills. An open container of alcohol and a damaged box of wine were also present. On the back seat, a backpack filled with clothes. Her wallet and cell phone were missing. Police reports noted that a rag was stuffed into the tailpipe of the car. Was this a desperate attempt to fake a breakdown, or something more sinister? The initial search was extensive. Police, search and rescue teams, and helicopters scoured the vast, unforgiving terrain of the White Mountains. They used thermal imagers and search dogs. One dog tracked a scent for about 100 yards east of the crash site before it abruptly stopped in the middle of the road. This detail has become a cornerstone of the most prevalent theory, that Maura got into another vehicle. Did a stranger stop to offer her a ride? A good Samaritan who turned out to be a predator? Or was this a planned rendezvous? Did someone she knew pick her up? The lack of physical evidence is what makes this case so frustrating and so fertile for speculation. There were no footprints in the snow leading away from the car, aside from those around the vehicle itself. No signs of a struggle. Maura Murray simply ceased to exist at that spot on the road. This is where the internet takes over. The Maura Murray case became one of the first true crime sensations of the digital age. Online forums and Reddit threads exploded with theories, some plausible, some bordering on the absurd. Let's look at a few. One popular theory is that Maura, distraught and possibly intoxicated, simply wandered into the woods and succumbed to the elements. The area is dense and treacherous, especially in winter. It's entirely possible her remains have just never been found. But seasoned searchers have covered the area countless times. Could she really have remained hidden for 2 decades? Then there's the tandem driver theory. This suggests Maura wasn't alone. Someone was following her in another car. When she crashed, this person picked her up, and they continued their journey together. This could explain why she refused help from Butch Atwood. She knew her ride was right behind her. This theory opens up a whole new set of questions. Who was this person, and why the secrecy? Was she running away to start a new life in Canada, as some have suggested? Her father, Fred Murray, has long believed that Maura was abducted by a local dirtbag, someone who saw an opportunity and seized it. He's been relentless in his pursuit of justice, often clashing with law enforcement over their handling of the case. He believes crucial time was wasted in the initial hours, and that the police didn't treat it as a potential abduction soon enough. Other theories are far darker. Some point to a local man who had a history of strange behavior and lived near the crash site. Others have tried to connect her disappearance to a hit-and-run incident involving another student that happened on campus just days before she left. Could she have been the driver, fleeing out of guilt and fear? Police investigated this and found no connection, but the theory persists online. Perhaps one of the most chilling pieces of information came from a contractor who was working on a house less than a mile from the crash site. Years later, he came forward claiming he saw a young woman jogging on the road around the time Maura disappeared, followed by a dark SUV. He didn't think much of it at the time. Could this have been Maura? We also have to consider the strange phone calls. A few days after she vanished, her boyfriend received a voicemail that sounded like a person whimpering. Though it was traced to a calling card Maura owned, the origin of the call remains a mystery. Was it Maura in distress, or just a pocket dial capturing background noise? The story is a tangled web of contradictions. She told Butch Atwood she'd called AAA, but there was no cell service. The rag in the tailpipe suggests car trouble, but why would someone do that to their own car on purpose unless they wanted an excuse to stop? She packed her school books, suggesting she intended to study, but also lied to her professors about a family emergency. Every clue seems to point in two directions at once. Over the years, numerous searches have been conducted based on tips and new theories. Cadaver dogs have been brought to the basement of a house near the crash site, where a new concrete floor had been poured shortly after Maura vanished. The search turned up nothing. Ground-penetrating radar has been used. Areas have been excavated, but every lead turns into a dead end. The disappearance of Maura Murray is more than just a cold case. It's a story about the digital age's obsession with true crime, the power of a mystery to capture our collective imagination, and the unending pain of a family left without answers. They are stuck in a state of limbo, unable to mourn, unable to move on. What do I think happened? Honestly, the theory of her getting into another car seems the most likely. The dog's scent trail ending abruptly on the road is a powerful piece of evidence. Whether that car contained a friend or a foe is the billion-dollar question. The idea that she started a new life seems like wishful thinking, a hopeful fantasy in the face of a grim reality. It's incredibly difficult to vanish so completely in the modern world without leaving some kind of digital or financial footprint. The most probable scenario, and the most tragic, is that she accepted a ride from the wrong person. A young woman, alone on a dark road, her car disabled. It's a vulnerable situation, and there are predators who look for exactly that kind of opportunity. But until there's a confession, a body, or a breakthrough piece of evidence, we are all just storytellers, piecing together fragments of a puzzle with most of its pieces missing. Maura Murray remains a ghost, a question mark frozen in time on a snowy New Hampshire road. Her story serves as a chilling reminder that sometimes people can just disappear, leaving behind nothing but questions and a silence that echoes for decades. What are your thoughts on this case? Which theory do you find most compelling? Let me know down in the comments. This is one of those mysteries that sticks with you, and hearing different perspectives is always fascinating. Thanks for watching, and if you're interested in more deep dives into unsolved mysteries, make sure to subscribe. See you next time.